Welcome back. Tonight we're going to go continue working on this WD. The last video you saw was the axle removal for some new bearings and seals and redo the brakes. So while we're waiting on parts, tonight's video is going to be kind of getting that stuff cleaned up and getting everything ready for the new parts as they come in. So probably go ahead and get our hydraulic pump reinstalled. I got gaskets for that, maybe the oil in that reservoir, as well as the hydraulic or the hydraulic oil in, and then the hand clutch. So if that's something that you're interested in, stick around because it's coming up. All right, so here we are. Got everything kind of situated here to start digging out the crud that was inside the rear axle housing. So we'll be cleaning that out. Got my shop vac hose over here, so we'll clean that up. I've still got some cleaner down inside that reservoir, so we'll drain that, get it cleaned up. Got the hydraulic pump down here. It's been leaking a little bit of fluid out of it, which is not a big deal, besides create a mess on the floor. We'll get that thing cleaned up as well and get the old gasket off. I can see it sticking on the back side there. Right there, we'll get that thing off of there and we'll get it reinstalled. Prior to sticking it on there, I think what I want to do is get my wire wheel on my grinder, and I'm just going to clean the surface rust off of this side, and may go ahead and just shoot a little primer out of the can on that just to coat it up, because that's right in behind where that pump housing is, so it's pretty much impossible to get to paint at a later date. So we'll go ahead and get that squared away, and then I'm going to finish cleaning out the crud that's in the bottom here, get that cleaned out as well. That reservoir and the rear end are together, so I cannot add my oil to that section, so probably not going to mess with that. And then the clutch right here, actually I believe the fluid can migrate through right here where the shaft goes through. There's no seal, it's just a bearing, so it can actually kind of slip right through there, so we don't want that happening. So we'll probably lay off on putting the fluid back, that we can prep the gasket surface, kind of go ahead and clean some of that stuff up. I've got tons of crud right here to clean up. So yeah, there's plenty of stuff to do. I want to get all of that stuff ready, so as my parts arrive I can just start reassembly. I'll clean up the brake drum as well. And then over here on the outer, I believe it's the drive gear where it steps down from the main axle, there's actually a small reservoir underneath there that's going to hold oil. There's a drain on it, right up there on the top right. Some guys just unbolt those and take them off, so probably what I'll do, because it's pretty nasty, it'll be easier for me to clean it. So I'll probably want to unbolt that. As you can see, there's lots of crud here. I'll go ahead and pull this cap off, see if we've got a place there that's been leaking over the years a little bit. Looks like probably so. So we'll get all that stuff checked out. So really a lot of it's just time-lapse stuff. So we'll just let the camera kind of watch me work around this thing, and basically when we get down here towards the end of the video, we'll go over what's been completed and what the next steps are, and then we'll be finished. So stick around, here we go. All right, so you've been watching on the time lapse all the cleanup. I didn't get a chance to run the wire brush on any of this. Got my top covers cleaned up. I'd end up taking this off, end up taking the power steering pump off, which is laying over there, and then the piece up here on top of the starter drive housing, bell housing I guess would be the main term, that holds the lights and all that. Get that out of the way. Needed that out of the way so I could get in here to clean this up anyway, so it is what it is. Seems like you get started on these projects and you only want to do one thing and end up tearing the whole thing apart. So anyway, with that said, we went through, got everything cleaned up. I started taking my brake pedals and everything off because you can't get to any of that right there unless those are out of the way. So looking at my hand clutch, got this little lever right here that runs down to the hitch. It's got a little set of forks that capture that hand clutch. All of you know that the hand clutch bushings in here and that pin a lot of times are worn because of just the angle that the operator is. And this one, I'm trying to move it and it moves a little bit, but not a whole lot. So that little home design deal right there actually probably worked out pretty good. I'm going to take it off. Maybe I'm going to try to get it off of there. I might have to cut it off, I'm not sure, but it's on there pretty solid down here at the hitch. But anyway, so yeah, that's where we're at this point. There is a seal that's a little bit questionable in here after I got to looking. It's this one right on the back. You can see right up there at the top, you can see the spring. The rest of the seal don't look bad. The oil level, if we're looking across through there, you can see the filler neck housing back there. And so the oil level is going to be about, you know, probably about the bottom of where this cam is. So it's not really at the top of that, just sitting, but you know it's going to get splashed around in there. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do on that. If I replace it, there's two in there. I was looking at my book. If I replace it, I'm going to have to split right here and then back here as well. I'm already going to put seals on the PTO housing, so it's got to come off if you're pulling that shaft. Not a big deal, that will already be out of there. And then that shaft runs all the way through, and that's your input shaft on the back side of your clutch, the engine. So I don't know, I'm tore down this far. You know, it's like, what do you got left to pull loose? Literally, the PTO shaft would have to come out, that linkage on the hand clutch, and this bar for the foot clutch, and literally that's it. And you can just unbolt that other frame rail. I have to block it up, unbolt that frame rail, get it out of the way, which means the whole front end is going to come out. It's going to be back out of the way as well, and then that just leaves you just the torque tube and the rear end connected up there. So I don't know, I'm debating on what to do. You know, I just don't want to get too deep into it. Really, cost-wise, we're just talking a couple of seals and some gaskets that go between these plates. So cost-wise, you're not talking a whole lot. That's a lot of labor. Lots of labor involved in it. So that's what I'm flirting with. I'm trying to figure out, do you just do it or not? I don't know that the seal leaks. So I'm just going by what I'm seeing. It's like I said, a little questionable. The downside is I get all this painted, put back together, and then I start getting my oil that's in the, basically the hand clutch and transmission rear end, mixing in my hydraulic oil and pushing throughout the system. So the only thing got pumps running are the lift arms, and it's got the remote on it. It's not like we're running, you know, like a 100 series tractor where the pump's running you know, some of your clutch packs and things like that, where you're really moving fluid around and power steering and what have you. So the question is, I guess, what kind of damage would we be doing if some of that oil did mix? And is there a new oil nowadays that will work in both cavities? So, you know, if it's the same kind of oil and it mixes, we're not really talking about that big of an issue. So I don't know. I'm gonna sleep on it and think about it and outweigh my options. I may just go ahead and get a couple of prices, or a price on what gaskets and things I'm gonna need, and make a decision at that point. So anyway, the rear housing, I don't know how much you could picked up on that on the time lapse, but it was caked in there pretty good. I'm going to leave the rear differential retainer in place until I got my new bearings and seals here, and then we'll pull that out and fix it, clean it up at that point, and then put it back together. So we're not going to go any further on that. And then I still need to clean out my rear end housing. Still some junk in there. There's a lot of buildup on those gears. I think that's why it's making it kind of harder for me to twist this thing, but it seems to run pretty decent when I've got the drill hooked up to it here. But anyway, yeah, that's where we're at this point. Probably stop this video here and pick back up maybe on the brake assembly, depending upon if I decide to split this thing on down any further. So if that happens, we'll make a video on that, getting that split apart. What I could do, I didn't really think of it until now, over here I've got my 45 diesel, basically almost the same stage, upside down. And I'm definitely going to do that on this tractor because I'm doing a complete restoration on it. So I'll split here underneath all that crud. Here's my next point to split. I could go ahead and tear that one in two, and just see what I'm getting into before I start on the WD. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking. We will find out maybe tomorrow what's going to transpire and then go from there. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe, share, and turn on your notification bell, and have a good day.